return.
It's a, indeterminate amount of time later, once again, because, god damn it, it's not like you were exactly effective, you know, and trained to, do this whole timekeeping under incredible duress shit.
Most I could guess would be whether how hungry I am or bowel movements. Yeah. That would be it.
Yep. Your character slowly and groggily awakens, and what seems to be another room similar to the one which had that fucking thunder sphere or dome or whatever that she was slowly rotating around in, like some sort of amusement park thing. A room similar to that.
What you're telling me is we got beyond Thunderdome?
I'm telling you that Mel Gibson's about to ride again.
Oh, great.
Yes. No. A room similar to that, in the bright lights and reflective material on the walls, creating an obnoxious environment in which to really look. However, she is not actually rotating, strapped inside a sphere. Instead, it seems as if she is currently suspended, like, this is going to be a really, like, weird thought, of which is nothing weird, really, considering all the other weird thoughts, like some sort of jungle sacrifice, and that she is being kept between two metal poles, again, about 10 feet up off the ground, and the metal poles themselves appear to have been built into the floor, with a chain strapping her arms and her legs to either pole. Once again, the medical apparatus is around her neck.
First thought would be, though, this could be a lot worse.
A tinny speaker near the door crackles to life, and the bass voice rumbles out, "It is necessary to perform all sort of tests. While information derived from multiple sources could be trustworthy, the best instances of seeing someone in action is to actually see it oneself."
You're not doing what I think you might be doing.
I beg your pardon, Miss Maverick.
You didn't capture one of those things, and you're not going to put it in this room or anything, right?
Almost as if on cue. The metal door, slides open rather swiftly. This room is fairly warm as well due to all of the bright lighting. And coming out of the shadows of a hallway appears to be one of the soldiers in a bulky radiation suit with a severed head, which is still animate, with glowing orbs for eyes, and sort of unhollow, like, gored appearance all over its teeth. It has, like, bits of cheek missing, you know, its ears are gone. Nothing more than, like, messy holes.
Well, at least it's not able to self-locomote.
Yeah.
Going to attempt to move myself up and away as best as I can, being restrained.
It, of course, is ineffective doing so.
Still trying for the show.
Rather tightly. Yes. The soldier approaches. The arms are outstretched from him. The jaw is rather active on this creature, seemingly ravenous, although it has no sort of digestive system by which it could consume anything, except for teeth, which remain, active in the constant snapping of jaws.
Well then,
go ahead.
She's gonna continue to try to bodily move herself any way she can away from said jaws, while also saying, like, I understand the whole, not using the Z word, but that is an animate head.
There is no response for Kathlyn. The
Still gonna say it.
the zombie head is placed down on the ground. She is 10 feet up in the air, and the head is just like located like right below her, just like tilted so that the back of its head is on the metal floor, and it's looking straight up at her, snapping its jaws the entire time.
One question.
Go ahead.
The restraints, are they anchored in the pole? Actually, I'm going to look at the poles.
They appear to be anchored in the pole, yes.
Does the pole look like it telescopes down at all?
It's possible that it does, since it does look like it came from inside the floor.
Great.
So they could lower these.
Let's see. Asking what they weren't going to do got me what they weren't. What I asked. So let's just say I'm going to be snarky. Look, I know you like the view, but just could you get the thing out of here? Like, maybe the jaw can stop.
The soldier turns his back and slowly walks out of the room. The door closing behind him.
Mm-hmm. Definitely still has its teeth.
Yes, definitely still active.
How much wiggle room do I not have with my feet?
Very little. Minimal. You can slightly shift, but it's pretty fucking uncomfortable. Perhaps the way they designed it to be.
Well, yeah. Of course it's horribly uncomfortable and you can't move very much.
It seems as if they thought that plan through when designing this apparatus. And it's probably even more so for Miss Maverick in that, your character, in that she might actually have more room, but because of her enlarged size as well as muscular structure, she takes it up.
Thought as much.
Damn it, she's such an ass kicker.
Initial plan was to wiggle foot to try to push head away if I got too close to it.
No. The poles do not seem to be retracting into the floor, mercifully.
+1.
The Tenny-Speako rumbles back to life and says, "We did the same thing with Mr. Fletcher. He was a rather unruly and snarky subject who needed to be properly educated. For you, however, this is merely a review. Take heart, we had 5 in there with him.
5.
And almost as if on cue, the poles hum to life and actually do move down an inch and then back up to the normal position. We also had those lowered quite considerably.
I kinda thought they could do that.
Yes, some people need more effort than others. Wouldn't you agree, Miss Maverick?
So, yeah. Zombie head.
Yeah. And the speaker rumbles one more time. I imagine, though, that we could do some comfort for you here. And then the insanely, incredibly bright light in the room slowly begins to dim.
Just enough so that it's not horribly painful, right?
First.
Oh, great. It's gonna go pitch black, isn't it?
Yeah. It's gotta go pitch black. Except for, like, a little tiny halo.
I assume the eyes are also burning.
They... little 2 glowing pinpoints in the dark.
Well... Is there any chance I might recognize whose head this is?
It looks very marred and damaged. It's difficult to say which possible acquaintance or longtime friend, or perhaps even rival, this might have been.
I think we killed the rival back at the church.
It has sustained very serious damage, and except for basically prior knowledge, it would be difficult to ascertain whether this actually even was human at some point. So marred with gore and destruction it has been. Nevertheless, it does remain active.
Well, general skeletal structure would mean that something much worse would have had to be infected.
Yes.
Zombie gorillas, now terrified.
Go on. I like these ideas. Tell me more, Chris.
As long as we don't go into zombie crows, I'm pretty good.
Well, Resident Evil. I'll give you old tank controls next session, okay?
We'll also only have limited inventory.
Uh-huh.
Hey, but we get inventory reloads. That's a perk.
Actually, your character will have 8 spaces. The other characters will only have 6 spaces, Chris.
Of course.
Yeah.
Start out with a lockpick and they'll have a lighter.
And there'll be a guy who helps prevent you from becoming a Jill sandwich.
The Jill sandwiches.
Yes.
He will also be preoccupied with that blood.
Mm-hmm.
Wondering if it's mine.
Yes. At any rate, that's how it ends up hanging for you. In there, between the poles. Jaws constantly active. And to make matters worse, just as it seems like the lights are about to, maybe completely die down, or whether it could maybe get worse, they all just suddenly, flash to life for, a half minute of BOOM! They all just come streaming back on.
Followed by squinting but not closing the eye.
And then,
Oh boy.
and then the lights all die. This is a continued process. Maybe every 15 to 20 minutes?
Recurring nightmares replaced with entirely different set of recurring nightmares.
But
you know that resistance to fatigue's really coming in handy here.
Yeah. Your character is certainly made of hardier stuff. But it is only natural that your character does, at one point, give in to exhaustion.
They're gonna keep going until I do. It's either that or the neck poke.
It's hard to say what did her in, but she did her best.
Sir, I think it was the knife in the back.
Oh. In the operating theater. By Professor Plum. Eventually, it's really difficult to say how much time passed. There was a long, maybe sort of quasi-sleep, fraught with nightmares, and your body is very sore, particularly the limbs, with more markings on the skin from where the bindings were. Perhaps a little bit of constrained blood flow, almost as if it would threaten gangrene, but maybe they know what they're doing, right? Not as bad as a tourniquet. And eventually, Kathlyn, with a sort of an aching body all over, particularly her head, just pulsing, does manage to come to in a air-conditioned, ink-black room. A tray of very yummy and absolutely delightful food on the other side of the door.
Oh man, just telling you, man. That I see the tray on the opposite side of the door, don't I?
It's on your side.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
was expecting it to kind of just be hanging out,
Nah.
just out of reach.
Nah.
Assume it's the same general thing.
It's the same thin soup, same hunks of bland bread,
Eat out of habit, if not necessarily desired.
multiple cups of water. How nice.
Multiple cups.
I know.
We're getting fancy here.
Yeah. And then the basso voice from the speaker rumbles to life, and he says, "You will be pleased to know that the operation was a complete success, Miss Maverick, as it was for the rest of your companions."
Going to kind of feel around my neck, because that's where my first thought would go with that.
It's pretty sore and stiff. You imagine from being in not too comfortable positions. You've had a metal bench to sleep on. If you haven't fallen asleep while being draped in like fucking, manacles while being suspended in the air.
Yeah. Do I even get to ask what the operation was? Kind of look over at the speaker.
With your determination and sense of self-preservation combined with the review of your companions, Miss Maverick, it seems as if you four will be of use to us in the coming days, what with your knowledge and expertise and, dare I say, luck.
It's gonna get a small chuckle.
Indeed, extensive research and analysis indicates that you and your companions have suffered no infection or traces of the great radiation present in any of these afflicted specimens we have managed to capture from the town.
Oh, she's actually gonna kind of perk up at that. So that's why one of your men that we found in the town had a Geiger counter near them. Broken, but it was there.
There's a pause. Yes, some of them did not make it back. Perhaps done in by these infected animals.
He, didn't have any bite marks on him, like he had died in the suit.
Yes, well, it seems as if these suits are unnecessary in dealing with the infected or with the possibly infected, as, despite the immense radiation, none of it escapes from the subjects without, as you would say, a bite.
Well then, radiation, huh?
It seems as if that is the case, but as we have not known radiation to do such a thing, we suspect there is another element at play. Otherwise, you would all be cooked.
If it's as concentrated in them as you say, yeah, we probably would be.
We are still looking for the answers, and the scientists in particular are so deprived of information. That is where you and your companions will be coming in.
I see. Is there any chance I can ask you if you picked up another person?
Another person, Miss Maverick?
Father Blackman. He ran the church before everything went to hell.
I am familiar with the name, yes.
Look, it may be a bit uncomfortable here, but for all I can tell so far, it's a hell of a lot safer than inside there. Is there any way you guys could possibly go down to the schoolhouse and pick up Blackman? He's protecting some, according to what the others said, some Girl Scouts in the school. Be warned, though, they're kind of paranoid. You might have to talk to them to get them out.
At this point, the speaker stops transmitting, and the metal door slides open.
Metal door open. Alright. Oh, crap.
On the other side is... What the fuck is the fucking that? It's a tall figure in a formal army dress uniform with a host of medals pinned on the breast. Not as tall as Cat, but still perhaps might cut an intimidating figure, but the face of the thing looks exactly like that.
Is it obviously organic? Or...
Yes.
Going to attempt to hold in shock at that. And cover herself a bit and say, hello?
The basso voice emits from this tall figure. Why don't you see for yourself, Miss Maverick?
She'll just come out, continuing to try to maintain some level of modesty, despite being, naked for the past days or so.
Okay. Go ahead and expose what you're currently in. You currently appear to be standing in some sort of long hallway, metal corridor that goes down for some distance both ways, which each square counting as a yard. It also becomes apparent as you step out here, there's two soldiers in uniform, both carrying rifles to the north. They are not wearing radiation suits. The character individual with the what the fuck face has money written on the name tag, and appears with the amount of insignia displayed here to be a general of some kind.
Well, hello, General. I can see the rifles down the hallway.
Mm-hmm. It's also clear, through more examination of the hallways, that these ink-black rooms appear to have one-way mirrors inside of them. As such, Kat can easily turn and peer and see right into the room that she currently inhabits. Well, she used to just a short time ago. There's also a room across from her that appears to have a tall, angry black man. Kathlyn vaguely is trying to think of a name, doesn't come up, might have seen him before, not sure whether he lives in Summer Meadow. Yeah, but he does have a name tag, and he appears to be heavily bandaged, and you can't really hear him transmitting sound, but he is active. He's like raging against the gods. His fists are up at the ceiling. Doesn't look like he's been taking this too well.
She's gonna comment offhandedly. Don't think he realizes how this type of thing works, does he?
The general does not give you a response, and the soldiers shift up a bit further north. And the general begins to walk north.
Going to follow a bit behind them.
Okay. When we get to this point, the window to your left reveals a rather shaken and traumatized and somewhat bandaged Eugene McGannigan. Looks like the whole dependency on marijuana and the fulfillment of his fears of the government have kind of come true, and they haven't sat well with him.
Poor guy. Legitimate pity for Popman, though.
On the other side appears to be a patiently waiting figure laying on the metal bench. He just sort of has his arms crossed over his naked chest, the legs sort of crossed too. He's laying up, staring at the ink-black ceiling.
Most eligible indeed.
Mm-hmm. As if he's patiently waiting.
Assume he's got the right of it.
The general progresses forward a bit more. As you can see, we have rescued, I suppose you might say, more than just your companions, but other survivors as well, Miss Maverick. Off to Kat's left here is the naked, shaken Jeremy Fletch. He looks like he's pretty bruised, like he's actually been hit with perhaps some fists and some cattle prods several times.
You did say he wasn't very cooperative.
And over on the right, perhaps predictably so, is a figure who appears to be Charles Blackman. He is actually kneeled by the metal bench, and he is praying.
Okay. What about the others that were with him? She'll actually ask the general.
The general says in that basso voice, "They have not handled too well. There is one currently in detainment."
A Girl Scout in detainment? Would be all she says.
One of them in detainment, yes, for possible infection, just like all of you.
Ooh.
The soldiers disappear out of sight.
Oh, they did thermoptic camo.
Yep. And the general actually progresses north here along the corridor and a bit down. We have quite an installation here devoted to the securing and detaining and processing of individuals such as yourself, although not in the exact conditions that you have experienced in Summer Meadow.
She's gonna comment again. So, I assume this is for maybe something related to, I don't want to say terrorism since the era. There was still that thing that was a hot button, but...
The United States government has need of all kinds of facilities devoted to safeguarding freedoms and liberties from threats without and within, Miss Maverick. There is no telling when another menace will rise in the east. Past the two soldiers appears to be a large metal door labeled, you can actually click on the doors in this situation, Experimental A.
I could, but these soldiers, man.
Alright, the soldiers.
Indeed, experimental.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm in the light, and if there's a small pause, is there any way I can look around to see if there's, like, any sutures?
You can certainly pause to check to do so.
Going to check to do so. Yeah.
Does not appear to be the case on you.
Still got that, niggling thought about the operation in the back of my head.
Mm-hmm. General steps to the corner there and directs a hand to point further down the corridor there.
Sturdy walls.
Mm-hmm. Very, very solid and thick, it seems, and non-decorative in nature. There's several other metal doors down there also with labels that you can click on, or near, even.
Disposal, security. The disposal one's more unsettling than most of them.
Mm-hmm. As you can see, we maintain a facility necessary for handling of possible individuals such as yourself. However, given your questions and what I imagine is your natural disregarding, natural lack of trust, I thought it would be fitting to show you the situation you are currently in, instead of merely explaining it. Behind the general, as he walks out into here, appears to be a stairwell leading up.
Kinda thought we were underground.
The general, with that absurd what the fuck face, like lowers the eyebrows and gives Kathlyn a stern look.
Yes, General?
There will be great hardship in the coming days. But if there is any indication you are responsible enough and effective enough for safeguarding and watching over your other companions to work together to complete a mission.
No disrespect, sir, but you expect me to keep 2 idiots and a career criminal in line.
Or out of line, if necessary.
I don't necessarily have a choice, do I?
Such is the nature of this operation, Miss Maverick. However, there is always a choice.
Well, yeah, I could go back to the tank, I suppose.
You could do anything. Mr. Ramirez, whom you know as Trusty Tony, has chosen a path, as has Mr. McGannigan and Mr. Fletcher.
I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. McGannigan would do anything for a brick of weed at this point. So, other than keeping an eye on them, what exactly do you need me to do?
Well, keeping an eye on them so much is not necessary, as much as the operation itself. After all, it is necessary to discover just how these events have transpired and what might be causing them, any sort of information, and your group is actually the one with the most experience and highest survivability rate in dealing with this incident. Despite all odds.
I'm still surprised I'm not dead, honestly.
Splendid. Maybe that surprise will stick in the coming moments.
Sort of nod and swallow hard.
Of course, it will be necessary for you individuals to be in a bit better condition and shape than we have kept you in during our extensive testing. However, protocols must be followed, and it would be rather irresponsible of us to loose an affection upon the world. However, as you have mentioned, it seems as if more than just the local region is at threat. After all, my men were not told to look for rats escaping the quarantine. And then there is a deep frown which appears on the comically absurd face.
As he frowns, I say, don't. There have been sightings of this type of thing outside the barricade, or blockade, haven't there?
The quarantine has regrettably been violated despite the best efforts of your government.
So,
While small, its ability to rapidly spread through simple contact has created the possibility of... And then he shakes his head. Not to mention the fact that this thing has gotten a head start on us, as we had not even known to look for the small animals to put them down. Even if we had, the quarantine would have been impossible in that form.
I can completely understand that. I've seen living rats get through holes the size of $50.
We would have treated this matter in a different way had we known the situation.
She's not going to say anything, but she's definitely thinking slash and burn.
As such, the general, the frown, lifts into, a more neutral expression. It's hard to tell with that.
It's a face.
Yeah. Probably, yeah. He does have a mouth, so, yeah, the frown does disappear.
It's not clearly frowning or smiling. I think that's neutral.
Yeah. It's a neutral. Don't touch it. As such, it is more evident with every passing day that we lack sufficient information, and as your group seems to be so adept at survival and fit at dealing with these zombies, that you might expunge what records you have accumulated by putting yourselves in service to your government.
I don't necessarily have anything against serving the government, but do I actually have anything to be expunged?
The general shrugs. Everyone has something.
I guess I can kiss the traffic violations goodbye. Sort of sigh heavily.
That's the spirit. The general sort of muses a bit and says, "You have been a most cooperative individual, however, Miss Maverick, given the situation and your cooperation and tenacity and my overall hospitality, I will permit a question. Another one.
Just gonna look down, think for a second. Is the general public going to be told anything about this? Because if they don't have any knowledge about what to look out for, I understand panic, but if they don't know what to look out for, it's just going to get worse. People getting bit, hiding it until they turn, that type of thing.
There is a regretful look which comes over the general's absurd face, and with some remorse and hesitation, the basso voice says, "That is not under my control, Miss Maverick."
That's unfortunate, as you've actually been very reasonable considering the situation.
Reasonable indeed. If I did not know the situation better, I would think you would be lying to me, Miss Maverick.
I don't lie.
So you don't. Fantastic. And then it's like sort of like a blur of crazy, that face is moving so fast at me speed, where the general appears to reach out and do something to you, and Kathlyn falls unconscious once again, slumped there on the metal floor.
He's a goddamn Vulcan.
With that face, who can say? At any rate, that takes care of this little mini session, Chris.
Well, that went well.
Ah. What'd you think?
I don't want to say it's what I expected, but I mean, considering government facility, it's definitely what I expected to happen, at least on the level of the torture.
And, your character chose a path of limited resistance. Certainly it was not as pleasant for others as it was for her.
Well, the thing is that she thinks Thomas Clady had the right of it. Just let it happen. Be as, compliant as you can. What are you going to do? Even if when you just had the bat, like, what are you going to do against them? Would be the question I'd ask.
Right, whereas the rest of the group attempted to resist and flee in some form or fashion.
There's a point where overwhelming force is just that.
Well, they aren't that bright.
Oh, yeah. I do have a out of character question though. Did Aaron do a mini session?
Oh, I couldn't say.
Damn.
I couldn't say. Perhaps
just because last time I've watched through the other tabletops you've done with him, his mini sessions are always great.
Couldn't say. That would be spoilers.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. At any rate, for participating in this little mini session to develop your character and explore the what might possibly be the situation, you may pick any 1-point quality from the core rulebook, basically to explain how your character has grown from this situation. You may also, if you really want to, pick a 1-point drawback to express how your character has grown from the situation. However, that is not necessary. Which reminds me that I have not posted experience points from what was earned for last session. I'll do that later this evening. So yes, a 1-point quality from the book, and if you really want a 1-point drawback, free of charge. What a great deal. In that case, are there any questions or comments for me that I might be able to answer or address for you? I'm going to take that as a no. All right, splendid. My work here is done. Dun da da da. I imagine Chris had to mute, step away, distracted or something.
Yeah, there we go. I got it. I was looking at the character sheet and I forgot that I use a push to talk for Skype because there's a lot of background noise in this house.
Okay, yeah.
So I was gonna ask, clothing, yes or no?
What is a 1-point quality?
Of course.
I mean, if you want to take the clothing perk, I guess.
No, it was more like just the question.
What does that refer to? Like, you gotta give me some context for the question. If you can devise sufficient context.
If I can use my mic without going on to the other thing.
Hmm.
Just wondering if it'd be possible for... No, not possible. If I'm gonna wake up with clothing or still be in that cell, just in a slightly better condition, I assume.
Your character might wake up with some clothes.
+1 to clothing.
But yeah, as mentioned, for participating in growing your character in the situation, a 1-point quality to better express how your character has evolved from the torture. That could be another point to resistance fatigue or pain or whatever the hell you think of that would befit your character.
She hasn't really gone through many injuries. I was gonna take hard to kill, but I wouldn't really take that, judging by what we've gone through.
Yes, your character did not choose the path of pain.
Would a contact work, considering money, or would that just be like...
No, that wouldn't be that wouldn't be a contact. He wouldn't be a friend for you. And
so far, hasn't decided to murder me, so that's a plus.
Yeah, it depends on how you want to classify friend, right? Right.
Friendly enough. Not trying to eat me. Not currently torturing me.
In this situation, you could also end up picking any sort of other sort of thing. Again, anything that you could perhaps justify or explain while undergoing the torture. And if you ended up picking a hard to kill, then it would actually be involving you taking, your character taking physical punishment. Or some other form of thing. Maybe the intense mental and emotional trauma of made her more stubborn. Resistance.
Resistance, mental interference.
Yes. I don't need a tinfoil hat now. I mean, if you really wanted, you could use that 1 point of quality to subtract from one of the drawbacks. I think you have recurring nightmares as well as the honorable thing, but I don't think I don't think the recurring nightmares are gone. I don't think this helped. Although if the situation made your character less honorable and more prone to actually lying to people as a result of the trauma, that's certainly certainly an outcome, since honorable does count as a drawback, technically. You'll have to give it some thought.
I'm giving it thought. I'll probably get back to you on the next session and see if those are okay.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. We held this one, fairly late for our 2-week hiatus, so definitely.
Had family in town. It was,
Take your time.
They come out of nowhere, man.
That's right, fucking ninjas.